Next week, we are in Reno. Not next week, next year, January 11th at the National Bowling Stadium. Live coverage on ESPN, January 11th, 1 Eastern on ESPN. And Jody Wessner's pursuit of a 300 game is alive and well. We left you after she got an opening ham bone. She struck in the 5th and the 6th as well. Carolyn Doran-Ballard had an open frame in the 4th, struck in the 5th. Jody Wessner, perfect through 6. She sits and waits for Carolyn Doran-Ballard to roll 2 frames. What a different looking Jody Wessner on the lanes today than we saw a few weeks ago in Hammond, Indiana on her first ever televised appearance.
That's better. Cut into that 62-pin deficit by 10.
Got to do what you can, man. These are desperate times. There's Danny Wiseman. What a shock. He's wearing a jersey with flames coming off of it. The Baltimore native, number 42 on the 50 greatest bowler list. Won his first title here in his hometown in 1990.
He's got a pretty good television record, Danny Wiseman does.
Haven't seen him yet this season. 12 career titles, 1 major for Danny Wiseman. He's got a great seat for Jody Wessner's pursuit of a 300 game. Here's Carolyn Doran-Ballard to open us up in the 7th.
Pretty good. 10. Excuse me, Rob. Pretty good ball change there for Carolyn. But I think the most impressive thing right now is what Jody Wessner is doing. And if you take a look at profile here, the shoulder-high backswing of Carolyn Doran-Ballard, she's got to throw more of those to have any chance in this match. But I'm really impressed with Jody. You know, her first telecast, as you mentioned, she wasn't comfortable with the settings of television. She didn't know where some of her equipment was, really struggled that day. But, man, what a difference a day makes, huh? Front 6, looking for 7 in a row, Jody Wessner.
Come on, 7. It's a great run. Thank you, Jody.
Well, she looks comfortable today. She's got a really nice ball reaction. Getting it off her hand. Very clean. Eyes on target. Beautiful knee bend. And look at the balance there. That's what you try to get through to your students at home when you're coaching. You try to get them into the foul line with good balance. And then you try to get them to be good spare shooters as well.
So Wessner with a 41-pin lead as we go into the 8th.
Jody Wessner, if she strikes spare the rest of this game, she will shoot 249. Carolyn Doran-Ballard can strike out for 248.
Back on the strike train. Jody has been engaged to Aaron Hawkins. You saw him earlier since Christmas of last year, and they are in formal negotiations. They are discussing a Reno Lake Tahoe marriage in the new year, around January 3rd, telling us just the 2 of us. Now, this is interesting because Jody's a guy's woman. You know, we talked about this earlier. She likes Mexican food. Her favorite movie's Caddyshack. She cheers for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Her favorite song, Live Wire by Motley Crue. I wonder if that will be their first dance.
Let me get back to that in a minute, Rob. Let's take a look at this shot here by Carolyn Doran-Ballard. I've got one for you.
Don't get serious on me. How dare you?
One more.
Oh!
How does that happen?
Whatever.
Yeah.
I love that attitude.
Boy, and if you've ever thrown a shot where you really needed it and left a solid 8, Carolyn, I can honestly say I know exactly how you feel.
But we were talking to Carolyn 2 weeks ago, and I said, what's your heritage? Are you Italian? And I don't know why, for some reason, I assumed that. She said, no, I'm half Czech, half Irish. I like my beer and my wine, and I like to argue. Great mix.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's got a little of that New Jersey attitude going right now with that whatever, with that 8-pin just mocking her.
Yeah.
And Jody, again, with that wonderful start, striking through the first 6 frames. Really never gave Carolyn an opening in this one.
Yeah, and Carolyn's second-guessing herself right now, saying, you know, I wish I would have started with this ball in frame 1.
Carolyn's having a good game. 5 strikes through 8 frames. That one open frame in the 4th really kind of biting her right now. Oof. Lucky to get the head pin.
And Rob, on this shark pattern, you just can't miss wide of target by that much and expect it to get back. She leaves the 2-4-8-10, and that's the characteristics of this oil pattern. Very slick in the outside part of the lane, which forces the players to try to get into that track zone and then move towards the center of the lane from there. You got to try to keep your target in front of you.
Well, the winners of all 6 singles women's series events will participate in the PBA Women's Series Showdown, a season-ending dedicated broadcast on ESPN, sponsored by the USBC. And you see on the far right your qualifiers. If you win, you're automatically qualify. If somebody has won twice, the person who was runner-up gets to qualify in that one. So it looks like Jody Wessner. In fact, I can guarantee you she will be moving on. Not just because she's probably going to win this match, but due to the math with Carolyn winning last week, she's already in, Jody goes in. It's kind of convoluted. Just trust us, she'll be there.
Yeah, Rob, I'm with you. She's bowling. But, you know, here's what I wanted to ask you. How many guests are invited to Jody's wedding?
She made it sound like it was just going to be the 2 of them.
And this is going to be in Reno?
Lake Tahoe, and it's right when we're going to be there.
And we're going to be there? You ever seen the movie Wedding Crashers? Oh, buddy, we are all over this. What a great game bowled by Jody Wessner. Has not missed the pocket. A double here. She'll be in the 250s. And what a turnaround from her last time out when she made the show in Detroit, only shooting 173. And it really goes to show you what can happen when you start getting comfortable on television.
We're fast-tracking things right now as Jody drops another. And you see the emotions starting to kick in. And we talked to Jody yesterday. And she said, you know, my concern last time I was on television was my performance. I had problems switching the balls. You know, I wanted to change, but my balls were on another rack. I was making mental mistakes. It was kind of this rush feel. Now I'm much calmer. I understand the nuances of how the televised program goes, where I need to be, where my balls need to be, where everything works, how the lights shake out. And she got off to a wonderful start, striking 1 through 6, again in the 8th, again in the 10th. And not to be right here.
And she just beat up on one of the best women's players in the history of their tour, in Carolyn Dorn-Ballard. And let's not forget, Carolyn was last week's winner.
Carolyn loses with a 189.
I believe this is our highest game of the season in the women's series.
On television.
On TV, you're right. Nice game, Jody.
Career title #1 for Jody Wessner, 247 to 189. Congratulations, Jody. An early wedding present, perhaps.
Really great.
Jody Wessner wins the PBA Women's Series Lumber Liquidators Shark Championship presented by the United States Bowling Congress. And the men take to the wood next. And we'll tell you about Parker Bowden III. He's the one on the left. His bowling cheat sheet, and talk live with the legendary Mark Roth when we return.